everybody, and welcome to Real Shame. It is a show where the two of us talk about our list of movie blind spots or list of shame movies we have not seen that we are trying to correct that. Yes, my name is Andy.
And I'm Adam.
And on today's episode, and this week, we're doing a couple of movies that I have not seen. But before we jump into today's movie, we always like to start off Monday's episode with what we've been watching lately. So, Adam, what have you been watching lately?
All right, I've caught up on a couple things. I watched a movie that you watched a couple weeks ago called One Night in Miami.
One Night in Miami.
That was nominated for some Academy Awards, and I thought it was good. I liked it. So I'm glad I watched that. The other movie I watched was a documentary about art theft called Made You Look.
Made You Look.
So I watched those two things, and I thought that was good. I mean, it doesn't really stand out to, like, I don't remember specifics about it or anything, but it was a good time, and I think it was on Netflix. You know, it was just one of those things you can kind of just watch. So that's what I did. I watched it.
Cool.
All right, what about you?
I watched a few different things. First of all, I watched Yellow Rose, which is about a young girl living with her mother in Bastrop, Texas.
I want to see this.
A little bit further south. She dreams of becoming a country music singer, and all the while her mother actually gets or is in danger of being deported for being an illegal immigrant. So she kind of goes on the run and chases her dreams of being a country singer. I thought it was good overall. I do wish that it would have concentrated maybe a little bit more on her singing kind of thing. There's not enough music in it for me. There's not enough of her singing in it for me. But it's still it's a good movie. I thought overall it was a nice little slice of life kind of film. It's good stuff. And the girl, I can't remember her name, that is in the lead role. I thought she was quite good. So it's a good movie. And then I watched another movie about a young girl. This one a little bit different, called Becky. And the reason primarily,
is Kevin James in it?
Yes, and that's kind of primarily the reason I watched it, is because it was like a big deal because Kevin James plays a villain.
Yeah.
I guess presumably for the first time in his career, and he is a bad guy in the movie. He is an escaped convict who
is he a mall cop?
He's not a mall cop, no. But he, along with some other escaped convicts, they terrorize. What's his name? Joel McHale. Joel McHale and his wife. Well, his wife to be. It's like his fiance and her son, and then Joel McHale's daughter, who is Becky, the titular character. But Becky gets the upper hand on Kevin James and the other convicts, and it's quite violent, quite gory. So if you're into that sort of thing, I mean, it doesn't bother me. But if you're into gore, kind of for the sake of gore, this is the movie for you. I did not like it overall, though. I didn't think it was all that good.
Interesting.
I mean, Kevin James was okay, as a villain or whatever. I didn't think it was that much of a stretch, I guess. But your mileage may vary. And then finally, I watched. I wanted to watch the new Craft movie, The Craft Legacy. Don't ask me why. But before I watched it, I rewatched the original Craft because it's been a little while since I've seen it. So I saw The Craft, I saw The Craft Legacy. The Craft is no masterpiece, but I kind of remember it fondly from the 90s. Reminds me of, once again, kind of a simpler time. The Craft Legacy just stinks. It's got David Duchovny in it, and I don't know what he was thinking. Because, I mean, his character, to me, really didn't make much sense at all. The movie, it resolves very quickly. It's really lame. And yes, Fairuza Balk is in it for like 2 seconds right at the end. So it's not really worth it. Don't waste your time. Stick to the original Craft if you've seen that and like it.
Who's the main girl in the Craft? Was it Robin?
Tunney, Tunney, however you say her name. Yeah. And Nev Campbell's.
Yep. Oh, yeah, Nev Campbell.
All them. And Skeet Ulrich. Let's not forget Skeet Ulrich.
Oh, I love Skeet.
And we're still waiting on...
Scoot and Skeet.
Scoot McNairy and Skeet Ulrich need to do a television show together called either Scoot and Skeet or Skeet and Scoot. Either one works.
We'll date this, but did you see that the two, Merry and Pippin from Lord of the Rings, are doing a podcast together?
I did not see that, no.
So we need Scoot and Skeet to either do a show or do a podcast. So
there you go.
It's easy.
Skeet and Scoot.
Obviously, we do a show. It's not that difficult. I'm sure Skeet and Scoot can do a way better job than what we're doing.
Right, because what is Skeet Ulrich doing now?
I don't know.
I haven't seen him in a while. I know Scoot's working.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what we have been watching. So let's get into today's movie.
Let's get into it. All right, in 2011, a gigantic comedy hit the scenes. And for some reason, this guy hasn't seen it. And it's Bridesmaids. Annie's best friend Lillian's about to get married. Being her maid of honor isn't smooth sailing with Lillian's new friend Helen gunning for the position and a ragtag group of bridesmaids.
I got engaged.
What?
He asked me last
What? I know.
That's why he's been acting so weird, because he's a terrible liar and he thought if he was ever gonna blow it, he was ignoring me and I thought he was gonna break up with me and
Oh my gosh.
oh my gosh.
I know.
Well, I'm shocked still, but I'm happy. Can you believe it?
Oh my god. Oh my god, I just got hot.
You did?
Yes.
Are you okay?
Yeah, my pits are sweating.
What does that
Stomach
mean?
hurts. I don't know, I'm hot. Oh my god. What is happening?
I don't know. I'm wearing a ring. I can't believe it.
Lil, you're getting married.
I'm getting married. And you'll be my maid of honor.
God, of course. Of course I will.
It'll be super fun.
It's gonna be really fun.
Yeah, we can plan everything together. And
Planning your wedding.
are you sure you're up for it? I know it's a lot to ask and put on your plate, and you're going through a tricky time and super busy.
Stop.
It's a lot to ask.
Stop.
Okay.
It's fine, and I'm more than happy to do it, and it's not too much.
Bridesmaids came out in 2011. It is written and directed. It's written by Kristen Wiig and Annie Mumolo. Remember, those names are going to come up a little bit later. And it's directed by Paul Feig. Paul Feig didn't really have a lot of movies to his name leading up to this. I think the big thing was Freaks and Geeks. But since then, he's gone on and directed the Ghostbusters reboot that had Melissa McCarthy in it and all that stuff. And he's a pretty well-accomplished comedy director. This movie, like I said, made big splashes in 2011. I remember everyone talking about it, the return of the comedy, the era of female-led comedies and all that kind of stuff. And I saw it back when it came out in 2011, but you haven't seen it before.
No, I've not.
So we're going to throw it over to you. What did you know about Bridesmaids going into it, and what did you think about Bridesmaids?
I remember it coming out, and I know a lot of people that kind of reference this movie, maybe not quote it, but that they talk about Wilson Phillips or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I had going into it, I thought it was more of a. I thought it was more about the bridesmaids like taking a trip, which they do in the movie.
Yeah.
Attempt to take a trip to Vegas, but it doesn't work out for them. That's what I kind of thought the whole movie was. I thought it was just like basically like I don't know. Bad Moms or something, which I think Annie Mumolo was involved in too, and I don't know if Kristen Wiig was, but that's what I thought it was. I thought it was kind of just like a road trip movie or something of thing. So I was
like
a little bit surprised with how it turns out, because it honestly almost is more about Kristen. Well, it is more about Kristen Wiig. She's the star. But I feel like her character goes through a lot more than I thought she was going to go through.
Yeah.
I would say overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty funny. You know me, I don't really like comedies that are super long, and this one is way too long. I know it's produced by Judd Apatow, and he's not known for editing.
But I feel like it's like
well.
2 hours.
It's over to. It's like 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah. It's
approximately 2 hours.
It's too long.
No, I hear
it's too long. I mean, I definitely found a lot to laugh at, and these days I tend to avoid anything that Rebel Wilson is in or that Melissa McCarthy is in.
And that's one thing I like about this is that they were so new that they didn't have their shtick or whatever, and they weren't like overly exploited or exploiting them, whatever,
Rebel Wilson's role in this is mercifully short. So that's fine. And Melissa McCarthy, I don't mind her. Actually, she doesn't have a huge role in this. I know it was kind of a breakout for her, although she had been in Gilmore Girls prior to this.
Yeah.
But I know she wasn't. Breakout role for
was
her.
She super funny in Gilmore Girls?
Not like this. She wasn't crude because that's not really like a crash show. So she's definitely gone leaps and bounds past Gilmore Girls. But no, I did like the movie. Again, I speak about the length of it. You have scenes like the part where Kristen Wiig and Rose Byrne are driving past Chris O'Dowd's character like 100 times. I was like, you could have cut some of that down. I mean, that kind of thing, that kind of shtick just goes on way too long. And there's other scenes. That's the one that immediately kind of springs to mind for me. There's other scenes in the movie that I felt like could have been trimmed a little bit. Maybe they riff a little too long.
Yeah.
But I would say overall, even their kind of riffing or improving or whatever they did, because I understand that they kind of improv some stuff to work it out, but then they filmed it or something. I mean, I don't think they were just doing it right off the cuff as they were filming. But I would say their results work a lot better than some other like Seth Rogen type comedies, which I can't stand, where they're just kind of riffing and trying to be funny, and it's just like, this is really lame to me anyway. But I thought overall this was a good movie, and I really liked the relationship between Kristen Wiig and the Chris O'Dowd character. I thought it was really sweet and touching, and it was good. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie overall. Had you seen this movie before?
Yeah, I've seen this movie probably a handful of times.
Oh, really?
I saw it when it came out in theaters, and I've seen it on like video and since then and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm not as hot on the movie as all the critics are. I don't think it's like the second coming of comedy. I think.
What?
Yeah, no. I think there is. Well, let me. I'm gonna deviate a little bit. I think comedies like horror movies, there's a certain age to where those movies really affect you, and then once you're outside that age, it doesn't really affect you. So I think like there's like a key point of time in your life where comedies are extremely funny. Like I remember the funniest comedy I've ever seen in theater was There's Something About Mary. Like that movie had me in stitches. I was having trouble breathing during that movie, and I think that was at like the peak of like when comedies would work for me. And now that I'm older, I feel like comedies don't really work as well for me. I don't know if it's just, and I feel the same way about horror movies. Does that make sense of what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So that being said, I attribute some of my not like unabashed love of this movie to the fact that maybe I'm a little older than this movie is kind of geared towards, or I'm kind of outside of that comedy kind of threshold and stuff like that. But I think it's good. I think it's well done. I think it's well directed. I like all the actors in it and stuff like that. I like Chris O'Dowd. I remember him coming from the IT crowd, and I watched a bunch of the IT crowd, before this movie came out. So I remember seeing him from there in this movie and really liking that. I don't watch SNL very much. I know you kind of watch it more than I do.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really super familiar with Kristen Wiig, but I liked, her character in here and stuff like that. And it's not like, you kind of worry about people that are in SNL going into comedies and kind of taking their character shtick and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And doing like big over the top characters. And I like that this one's kind of really grounded and not really, like the church lady or like Coneheads or stuff like that, and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I think it's solid. I just don't love it,
Yeah. I mean, I could see myself watching it again. I thought it was funny enough, despite its length. I thought it was good. I mean, like the part where they're trying on the dresses and they discover that they all have like food poisoning from eating at the one whatever place
Brazilian
it was. Yeah, the
Brazilian place.
Right. And then she's like shitting in the sink and like. I thought that was funny, like all that stuff. And then Maya Rudolph's character goes out and just shits in the wedding dress in the street, just
like hunkers down.
Yeah, she's like, oh, it's happening or whatever. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that. I got a kick out of it. I thought it was funny.
I read in trivia that Judd Apatow pushed that scene on him. Like they weren't trying to go that crass, but he was really pushing for something that I guess crass, that kind of scene or something like that in it.
Well, that's one instance where he showed good judgment. Rather than having like a 3-hour This Is 40 movie or whatever, however long that movie is. Yeah, stuff like that.
So yeah, I mean, I think the people who stands out to me the most watching this was Wendy McLennan Covey, who played Rita. Mm-hmm. And I think she's in the Goldbergs. She's the mom on the Goldbergs, if I remember correctly.
Sure.
And I think she kind of stands out the most of this movie to me on this kind of watching. Yeah. Like I really like what she's bringing and find her pretty interesting during the whole movie.
Yeah, she was funny.
You talked about Melissa McCarthy. She, in this movie, is her now husband, Ben Falcone. I don't know if he was her husband back then, but they would go on and do a bunch of comedies together that he directs, like the new one that's out on Netflix, the Thunder Force, I think is what it's called, or whatever.
Yeah.
And like all those kind of movies that I don't think are well loved by critics and probably audiences. He's kind of the perpetrator of all those kind of movies. But it's interesting to see them kind of in this movie and see her kind of break out as her character.
And he is funny as the not an air marshal guy, but actually an air marshal guy. And also John Hamm is funny.
John Hamm.
He's funny, and it was uncredited, right? It's not credited.
Yeah, I read that he was uncredited because
that people don't know who he is.
Yeah, because he didn't want people to think like it was going to be a different kind of movie because he was in it. Because I guess he was more well known for Mad Men at this time. Yeah. I was going to say something else. I don't know what I was going to say. Oh, did you see the end credit scene? Wasn't there an end credit scene or was it outtakes? Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
I don't remember seeing an end credit scene.
Okay, I was the part with Melissa McCarthy and the Ben Falcone.
Oh
sandwich.
Yes, yeah, I did.
Is that outtakes
right.
or end credits?
I think it's during the end credits or something like that. Yeah, it's them being goofy on the bed.
Yeah.
Homemade sex tape or whatever. Yeah. I did think Wilson Phillips was going to play a bigger role in the movie. They only come in like at the end.
Yeah, there's like a CD that's getting passed, or a CD in the box that she hands over to Maya Rudolph, and then at the end they just kind of do their number. And I
really lip syncing.
Yeah. And I like comedies that end that way with like a big number like that because it reminds me of like Anchorman. They kind of end with that. I think they end with a dance number.
It's been too long since I've seen that.
Yeah. I should have done more research. I'm
no Anchorman expert. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But no, I liked it overall. Looking at the date, it came out in May of 2011. I was probably busy. That was the year the Dallas Mavericks won the championship, so I was probably busy. I was busy with that. Yeah, that's why I wasn't watching Bridesmaids. Actually, I didn't go to the theater that much back in those days.
Yeah.
That was in my years of staying home and not going to the movie theater very often.
I totally get that.
Yeah, I don't think I would have seen this anyway. Even if I would have been going to the theater, it just was like, eh.
I think because of Bridesmaids, I watched Wet Hot American Summer, which I did not like.
Oh,
but man. I know you're a big fan of that movie.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up on the next episode.
All right, well, that's all I want to say about Bridesmaid. I think it's good. I think it's worth checking out. I'm glad you had some fun out of it, even though you thought it was a little long.
Yeah, but it was good. It was good.
So where do the critics fall on this?
It's actually 90% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes with a 76% audience score. I figured the audience score would be higher than that, but Roger Ebert gave it a thumbs up, but Leonard Maltin only gave it 2 stars. He wasn't as big on it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't read his review, but he gave it 2 stars.
I'm wondering if this one of those ones he'll circle back and give a better review in hindsight.
Nah, he's too busy doing other stuff.
He's too busy reviewing other movies.
He is.
All right.
What did you pair this with?
I paired this with, so I said in the beginning to remember Kristen Wiig and Amy Mumolo because they wrote another movie that came out this year together, and they
supposed to come out last year.
Supposed to come out last year, but it came out this year on one of the streaming channels, probably Prime, I think. And they also star in it, and it's a movie called Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar.
Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar.
Yeah, there you go. It's a ridiculous sounding movie, and I did not even want to watch this movie when I saw the trailer. But I heard so many reviewers say positive things, like podcasts I listen to, say they really liked this movie and it was surprising. And they compared it to a movie I know you like, which was MacGruber. Hopefully that's not a big spoiler for everyone out there. But so I was like, hey, you know what? It's the same writing team. Let's see what 2 movies 10 years apart looks like for them. So that's what I decided to pair it with. Was Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. I can't do the accent.
Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar.
There you go. All right, guys. Well,
next time.
Stay tuned next time on that Wednesday episode when we dig into that movie. What do I always say on here? I always forget. Like, subscribe. Let us know what you think about Bridesmaid. If you're watching us YouTube, leave a comment below, or you can shoot us an email, realshame@gmail.com. We also answer viewer questions on those Wednesday episodes sent to that email address or commented below, so please do that. Like, subscribe, share. I already said that, I think, the show, because that really does help, and we really do appreciate that. And we'll see you next time, guys. Stay tuned. Goodbye. Thank you. All that stuff.